Welcome to today's Daily Walk in Wisdom. We're having to go back a couple of verses to chapter 4, verses 12 to 15. My mistake, I leapt forward a day. And we're going back just to cover something that's very important that's in the Song of Songs. The king is speaking. He says, "A garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse. You are a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. Your plants are an orchard of pomegranates with choice fruits, with henna and spikenard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with every kind of frankincense tree, with myrrh and aloes and all the finest spices. You are a garden fountain, a well of living water, and streams from Lebanon." From her tremendous achievement conquering the heights of Lebanon, the bride begins another period of decline. Her first degeneration was caused by reaction. Her headstrong period was the result of resistance, and her last decline was caused by rebellion. The 3 R's of regression, the 3 R's of regression are reaction, resistance, and rebellion. Something goes wrong and you react. You then vindicate your reaction, and in your vindication, you are resisting. The first sign of a hard heart is resistance. And from resistance, it's but a small step in the wrong direction, and therein lies rebellion. But after her rebellion, the Shulamite ascended the mountains. But that was then. Where we arrive now finds the Shulamite recoiling from the awesome challenges she confronted previously in Lebanon. The spiritual warfare against the dens of lions and leopards place such a demand upon her that she feels intimidated and pressured, and now withdraws from the conflict and seeks to retire to more pleasant pursuits. This setback has nowhere near the implications of her past issues. She is simply processing the demands of new spiritual manifestations, and she is weathering the onslaught of the enemy. She's experiencing the fatigue of battle, and once again, she finds herself retreating behind a wall. The bride becomes a garden enclosed. I remember when Adam sinned and was forced to leave the Garden of God, the cherubim guarded the entrance of Eden with their flashing swords, and the garden became enclosed. That is the state of the Shulamite. She has decided that there will be no more advancement in her life because, let's face it, it's dangerous out there. As a result of her reaction to spiritual conflict, she concentrates on the development of the fruit of the Spirit. There's nothing wrong with developing the fruit of the Spirit, except this is to the detriment of her exercising the gifts of the Spirit. Now, if you are just producing fruit and not exercising the gifts, then something is going wrong in your life. There are 9 specific fruits or spices mentioned. There's pomegranates and camphor and spikenard and saffron and calamus and cinnamon and frankincense and myrrh and aloes. And these are aligned with the 9 fruit of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. All the fruit is essential to a successful and prolonged relationship with Jesus. Just like every marriage also requires the facilitation of every kind of grace. Without joy, your marriage will be sterile. If you have no peace, then your home won't be a refuge. Where self-control is absent, then marriage lacks its essential boundaries. The production of fruit in our lives relies upon one thing: abiding in the vine. Let me say that there will be no greater assistance to anyone having a profitable marriage, an enjoyable and successful marriage, than developing the fruit of the Spirit of God in our lives: love and joy and peace and long-suffering and patience and self-control. Nothing will help you more in your marriage than developing your relationship with Jesus and developing the fruit of the Spirit in your lives. But the production of fruit in our lives relies upon abiding in the vine. The bride has no problem abiding. Okay? Her fruit has become abundant. The problem is that in her enclosed estate, she has no impact upon the world. Now, in our lives, in any relationship that we share, there is the optimum design for our relationship to have an impact upon a broader sphere of people, upon a broader environment. For a marriage to fulfill its optimum potential in the world, then challenges must be faced and overcome. So there is a necessity. If you want to have a fulfilled marriage, you need to develop the fruit of the Spirit, but there will also be the necessity to face the challenges of life, to go out and begin that career, to go out and buy that house, to go out and join that club so that you can have an influence upon it, to take up responsibility in the world. Yes, the two go hand in hand. So further, her garden is receiving streams from Lebanon, receiving but not giving. Contrast that with the garden of God. Eden had one river flowing into it, but 4 rivers flowing out from it. So the Shulamite here, instead of flowing out to the needy land, her spring of living water has become shut up. She's become inward, introspective, introverted. And Jesus said that we will have living waters flowing out from our bellies, but the bride in retreat. And you will find this in your life. Whenever you retreat and withdraw and become introverted, then you will find yourself having living water, the waters of God flowing into you, but there will be nothing flowing out of you. If that continues for too long, if it continues in a church for too long, then we become like the Dead Sea, where water flows in but nothing flows out. It actually ends up becoming detrimental to our spiritual progression. God calls us to grow inwardly so that we can shine our light outwardly. Your interior developments, however essential, must never become an end in themselves. You are the light of the world. Don't hide your light under a bushel. So you've heard the saying, it's not the quantity, it's the quality. Here we're learning that both are necessary. We've been granted the fruit of the Spirit so we might feed the hunger that is in the world. And that's the lesson of love from this portion of Song of Songs. God bless you. See you again soon for more wisdom, the wisdom of love, the highest level of wisdom of all.